Welcome to the GameChanger00100 show. I'm your host, GameChanger, and let's make it happen. All right, so for whatever reason, the pink pill came up on my feed and entered my world again. Probably because I've been doing so many reviews on her, but y'all know how that works. Anyway, this time she had a David West on. Now, those of you who don't know, he is the husband of Cassie West, who is the white woman who had something to say about the Kevin Samuels situation. And the 35-year-old average at best woman's ability to level up. So he had something to say on that. But even prior to that, just seeing that she was live prompted me to do a response because I actually forgot about it. I actually forgot that I was going to do a video on how manipulative Christelyn Karazin actually is. It is my stern belief that she manipulated Shira71 to go after Jessica X. And then later she went to Jessica X like, oh, what did I do? I didn't do anything. I'm Christelyn Karazin. It's kind of like what she did. And then she said, our messages are aligned and, we have more in common than you think. Basically, trying to extend an olive branch to Jessica X after Jessica X just demolished Shira 7. So I decided to do the review on that. And then I started to listen to her and David talk. And I was like, oh, wow. This guy, and I spoke to him before on Obsidian's panel. I was like, okay, it seems like this guy's perception of Black relationships began with the Black woman, meaning that everything he knows about Black relationships, he learned from Black women. And he's just now starting to hear Black men's point of view, but it's already kind of biased because he heard their side of the story first. So it's more of a defensive position. That's what I'm gathering from him. So I called him, and I'll play that call later. So I called him I called the Christelyn Karazin show to educate him, to give our perspective. And I was censored. Yep. I got a click because, I was about to tell that truth. Mr. Telephone Man. Yeah, it was one of those moments. Now, I want you to pay special close attention to the point that I was clicked on. But before we get into that, let me do the portion. Oh, by the way, I extended an invitation to David to join my show, to join this particular episode of my show, so I can finish what I was saying. But before I do that, let me bring up the Shira 7 proof, just so you can see the pattern and the method of manipulation that Christelyn Karazin likes to use. All right, so let me... What avatar should I go with? Hold on one moment. I'm looking for an appropriate backdrop. Here we go. Here we go. All right, so there we go. And now let me look up the video. Yeah, I got kind of a busy screen. No. Here we go. Good side of being bad. And I wrote down the timestamp. All right. 34, 35. Should have been more prepared than this. My mistake. But I was doing like a lot of things, and I didn't really plan on doing this. All right. So Here we go. Share screen. Share audio. Share. Okay, so just to give you a intro to what we're doing here. Here, not that one. All right. Cool. All right, everything's cool there. All right, my bad. Let me share the right one. There we go. All right, so just a quick introduction to what they were talking about. Basically, this is Christelyn, Karazin, and Shira7 talking about the goods and bads of getting the bag. Now, it's going to come up later in the David call, but pay special close attention to how the Jessica X problem, as they see it, is finessed into the conversation by Christelyn and Karazin. Let's take a look. Take a listen, rather.
And I think all of us know.
Fair use.
Know what I'm talking about.
Let me go back a little bit more to get a little bit more context. All right, there we go.
Value themselves, but either way, you know, it's not going to work.
That's the voice of Shira.
I think I have to view it in a certain way because people, instead of doing the work themselves, will try to tear other people down so they don't have to, you know, get on that level because it's easier for them.
Yeah.
But I say no, level up. Come get on my level if you want to criticize me. I don't take any criticism for anyone who's not on my level. So
I don't want to get into specifics, but I feel like between you, me, other content creators, we are really starting to strike a chord with women, and in particular Black women. And the light bulb is going on. Oh, somebody gave me a Cash App. Thank you, Leah, for the Cash App. I appreciate it.
Fair use.
There has been an energy of Black women. It's almost like an enlightenment. Hey, you know, what Shira says makes sense. What Christelyn says makes sense. What, you know, Tanya and all the other ones, it makes sense. I'm going to start loving myself more. I'm going to start getting the bag. I'm going to start.
Now, right here, she's saying that her message is getting young women to get the bag. Now, I want y'all to see what she later says to David about getting the bag. Hold on.
Cultivating myself so I can feel comfortable being around these wealthy men. And it was good for a while. And I feel like there's this pushback energy that is happening right now. And I think all of us know what I'm talking about.
Okay, right there, this is what's called leading. She's leading Shira7 to say what she's talking about. There's this pushback energy, and I think we all know what we're talking about. Now, Christelyn Karazin isn't going to say what that energy is. She's not going to say it. She's very passive aggressive. However, she is leading Shira7 into saying it. Shira7 is about to say it. There's this pushback energy, and we all know what we're talking about. You know that thing. Come on. Say it, Shira. Say it, Shira. So Jessica could come after you and make you look like a damn fool when you embarrass some poor girl or harass some poor girl. And you're probably getting sued. Better you than her. Go ahead, say it. Say it.
yeah, I think we know. Pygmisha X.
Pygmisha X. Okay, she said it.
Yes.
And Christelyn Karazin gives a fake laugh. She gives a fake laugh like, ah, ha, 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 ah, ha. You said Pygmisha X. That's so clever. Okay. See, putting any word before the word X, she would have laughed at.
We know.
By the way, the laughter is to encourage Shira to do more of it. This is a positive response. She just gave a positive response to something that Shira said. So it's going to encourage her to do more of them. But let's continue. And I want y'all to pay special close attention to who is leading whom into making negative comments about Jessica, aka Pick Misha X. Let's continue.
What do you think that's about? What do you think that? I mean, it's one thing for the men, you know. Like, I understand the men feeling some kind of way about the enlightenment of Black women, but the women who do it, like, what is going on there?
Now y'all see that's a question. The women that's doing it, what is going on there? This is her asking Shira the question, knowing that the answer is not going to be nice. Because no matter what, no one likes to be psychoanalyzed, especially if they didn't request it themselves. So no matter what the psychoanalysis is, it's not going to be positive because her views conflict with Shira's. So she knows that this is a perfect lead. She is leading. What is going on with that? Now listen to Shira's response, as she was led to do.
What is that about?
What is that about?
Seeking male validation.
Yeah, but yeah.
And Shira takes the bait. She gave a very simple and poignant statement, seeking male validation.
Clearly, yes, that's what it is, but being in service to.
This is Christelyn attempting to get her to expand on it. Like, yeah, but that wasn't mean enough. That wasn't mean enough. I want you to expand on that. I want you to be meaner towards Jessica X.
Men who, like, so the desire for the male validation is more important than the elevation of women who look like them.
Yes. Because they can't compete.
So she said yes. Yeah, fair use. So she said yes, and then there was a little pause there. And that was Christelyn just trying to get her to say more. Just trying to get her to be the bad girl. Now remember, Christelyn Karazin is the one in white, and Shira 7 is the one in black. So she's already said, listen, I'm the good girl, and you're the bad girl. So as the good girl, I'm going to get you to do all the stuff that I want to say and do. I'm going to use you as a proxy between Jessica X and I. You are basically a shield. You are an agent of shield, is what she's doing to her. And Shira received a enormous pushback. While Christelyn just kind of sat there in her yoga position, looking like a poop emoji. That's what happened. But let's continue.
That's why there's no photo. Yeah.
And she laughs every time Shira 7 attacks Jessica X. Christelyn Karazin laughs.
Because they can't compete.
And what is this energy to put black?
Hit the like button. People, hit the like button. You see, what chicks like this does, what this road chick does, is she likes to say stuff on a public platform, knowing that other platforms are smaller. I want to increase my platform. So when she shut me out, I can go to a bigger platform and tell them the truth of what happened. Hit that like button. That helps my channel grow. Hit the like button.
Black women in their place in particular, you know, into saying, no, you think this is what you deserve, but I'm here to tell you, as the arbiter of all things, you know, of the things that you want.
Anyone I can't see.
Huh?
I don't trust anyone that I can't see. First of all, we don't know what she looks like.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how wide she is. We don't know how many teeth she's missing. We don't know what gang signs her teeth.
Y'all see what's going on here? She is encouraging this behavior in others.
Are throwing if she does have any.
Right. If she has tattoos on her chest.
We have no idea what she looks.
And that was a shot at Danica, I'm sure. But of course, if she ever wanted to recruit Danica and she was like, she'll come like, I never, ever, ever did anything. I never, ever, ever did anything. Why are you coming at me? I never, ever, ever. I never, ever, ever.
Looks like, because I think a lot of what she's doing has to do with self-esteem. And so we don't know what she's looking like. She could have had an abusive parent.
See, this is what I mean when I told you that people don't really like being psychoanalyzed, especially by somebody who's making up crap. They don't like that. So now Shira 7 is just making up crap, saying that the teeth, the abusive parents, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Any pushback is routed to Shira 7, while Christelyn Karazin just sits and wait for the opportunity to laugh again, to encourage her to do it some more. She's being led. She's being led.
She could have, she could be in a bad relationship. A Black woman could have stole her man, the one that she really wanted, or he could be cheating with one. We don't know.
Right. Now, it's very, very difficult. It's easy for people who want to stay anonymous to make certain assertions and dispersions about people. But it takes a lot. It takes an incredible amount of courage to come up here and show up and be authentic and be the person behind the statements and stand behind those statements. I find it unfortunate that women, and I feel like we can go so much further, and this is why I'm so happy about the collaborations that are happening between us and other people, even if we don't agree, because I mean, other women know to do this with each other. Like, women of other races know to do this, and they win. And I feel like so many of us are still working in the service to the men who aren't who are not elevating us. We're working in service to them. Why?
So they complain about how much money Jessica makes, yet she's in service to the men that's not elevating her. Apparently the men are elevating her. She's making money.
While keeping us at the bottom. And I feel like there are certain people who are invested in keeping us at the bottom.
So Stoic, yeah, she's passive aggressive. But basically, win is code word for, or, is a sisterhood talk for, get a wealthy man to take care of you.
Bottom, because they need to feel like there's somebody that they can feel better than.
Right. And that's something that I don't believe in. I believe that anyone who can put in the work to level up deserves to level up.
Okay. So I don't entirely disagree with that statement, barring genetic deficiencies. However, what did I want to say? They're going to attempt to recruit Jessica. I want y'all to pay close attention to that. They're going to attempt to recruit Jessica.
And if somebody tries to keep you down, it's because they're afraid that you're going to rise past them.
Oh, and also Christelyn uses words like them and they, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, when she really means Jessica. This is just her way to keep the fingerprint off the gun and hand it to Shira.
And if you rise past them, it's going to show the world that, hello, that's the only reason why they were trying to keep you down. It's because they were afraid that you would rise past them. We don't worry about keeping other people down.
No, I mean,
we're not afraid of people rising up past. And those that do, they are. That's why.
Now, remember the video I did when she was talking about 25-year-old girls and she was saying that, you know, so young and inexperienced. Yes, you are keeping people down, sweetie.
That's why, you know, when they pick on you, when they try to do stuff to you, it's because they're coming from a lower level.
Yeah. I think that certain people are threatened because what we do actually does have success, that we actually have helped many, many women. Can you think of one particular or maybe two occasions where...
Okay, now they're just going off on a tangent. No, they can't, because the example she's going to give is in her personal life. When I was just reviewing a video earlier where a woman was thanking Kevin Samuels for helping her find a fiance. So she's now engaged. So yeah, but y'all don't do that. Y'all are going for those Applebee's gift cards and thinking that's a level up, you know, because it used to be Sizzler. So yeah, that's where you're at now. All right, so I want to contrast what we just heard with what she said on Jessica X's panel. All the things that she was leading Christelyn Karazin to say, that she was leading Shira 7 to say, and laughing when Shira 7 was making fun. Now let's listen to her on Jessica X's panel. Hold on one second. Let me get the proper screen going. I'm hungry. Okay.
That they thought that a black man was one way when it turned out he was something else. Okay, I'll go along with the first time. I get that. You get burnt the first time, you were young, didn't know any better, fine. I'll grant you that. But when you're like, I'm 52, when you're, you know, a Gen Xer like me, as a black woman, and that's going to be your argument, and you're in your deep 40s, staring down 50, sis, it's something about, if the argument is to be believed, that you didn't know thus and so about dude, it's something about you that keeps attracting those type of men into your life. It's something about you. And that needs to be examined. That's if that's going to be the argument with Kevin Samuels, I'll go along with that, then it's something about you.
Okay, so Christelyn is here, so I think it's right to give her chance to respond and give her perspective.
Hi, Jessica.
Hi.
I'm willing to have a conversation with just you, but the way that these panels go, I'm really not interested in speaking with Mr. Fantastic or...
I'll drop down, no problem.
No.
I'll let you
So if you and I can talk, then I'm okay with that.
What happened to drop down? Do we do Mr. Fantastic?
Fantastic has got...
Now, she has, this is a clever strategy to drop them down. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why this is probably the best move for her, but really the main one is that she understands that Obsidian, and maybe even Mr. Fantastic, watches her show more than Jessica. Obsidian most certainly does. So Obsidian is more prone to say, hey, wait a minute, when you was talking to Shira 7, this is what you were doing. He's more prone to say that. So he's like, so she's like, get him off the thing while I speak to Jessica X alone. And she doesn't know my platform as well, because, you know, Obsidian is a critic of her stuff. So she can manipulate that way. And she could write her own story, her own backstory.
Drop down already.
I'll drop down too, please. Have that, ladies.
Okay, thank you, Obsidian. So, Christelyn, happy that you came up. Happy that you came up. And let me just gather this, because I'm
Notice how Jessica says happy. She didn't say glad that you came up. She said happy.
From your super chats, I didn't catch all of your comments, but from your super chats, you're upset that maybe not upset, but you've obviously noticed that I've made 3 videos with your name in the title. So do we want to go from there?
Well, actually, I don't really. I think you've clarified that for me. Part of the reason why I kept super chatting is because, congratulations, you did get a lot of super chats, but I didn't think what I was saying was being read. So you've made your.
So notice she points out you did get a lot of super chats, but before she was saying that men that won't support you or something of that ilk.
Yourself clear. So that's satisfactory for me. What I did want to say is this. There's a couple of things that I just want to clarify, but honestly, I really don't want to get into a debate. If you have some questions that you want to.
Because you would lose. Like, you don't want to do it, but you want it to happen with Shira 7.
To ask me, I can stay on for a little bit, but I just want to clarify a few things in regards to Kevin Samuels. And I think this is a good time for me to clarify, and I hope that once I say what I say, I don't have to keep saying it. So in regards to Kevin Samuels, yes, I went on his show. Yes, he was very kind to me. He even gave me a wrench. I admire the format of his show. I've even adopted some of the things that he's done to make my show better. I think that imitation is the highest form of flattery. So when I called in his show, and as Mr. Ali alluded to, I probably should have done more research about what he said. But what happens is that when I study someone, when I agree to go on somebody's show, I pay more attention to their content so that I'm better informed. So that's what I did. So the weekend before I was scheduled to go on a show, I think it was supposed to be on a Wednesday, he was having a discussion with a woman who was the mother of twins. She said that her husband was abusive. And without asking her about what the abuse was, he told her, because she decided to leave without even.
So basically, this is why she threw Kevin Samuels under the bus, and she didn't evaluate any of the stuff Shira 7, says. But we'll get into that.
Asking her what.
Actually, we already did. Check the previous video. I think it's called Will You Treat Shira 7 the Same Way You Did Kevin Samuels? And she didn't, just like I predicted.
The abuse was, he totally dismissed it and said that she should go back and beg his forgiveness and beg that he take her back. The second thing that he said that I thought was really bad was that he said that single mothers should give up custody of their children if they want high value men. That is, while I created a initiative called No Wedding, No Room, and I do want to call attention and find solution to the 72% out of wedlock rate of children being born, not the 72% rate of Black women being baby mamas. That is not true.
She is just on some blah, 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 blah. There's nothing wrong with saying that a woman should give custody to the father, to the willing father. I mean, you think she should be looking for men while taking care of a child?
72% of Black children are being born out of wedlock. That is not cohesive with my message. And I made a decision. And honestly, that decision hurt me. I could have, in the short run, gotten a whole lot of subscribers. I could have gotten more business. I made a decision based on my principles. That's why I made the decision that I did. My only mistake was that I didn't realize sooner that these were the message points that he was making. I hope that.
Hold on, we got somebody here. Chicks like you. It's more difficult. It's far more difficult. Though anything is possible, it's far more difficult. Children are very off-putting. Her responsibilities will be divided by doing so. Just like it's very difficult to be a student mother, a working mother, a mother, it's difficult to be a single mother. Any ancillary task that you have, your attention and focus will be divided between you and the child. That is why it is more difficult. But like I say, anything is possible. Kind of like it's more difficult for a fat woman to be a ballerina, but anything's possible. Something like that. Why do men do it? I don't know what it means, but if it means sex because it feels good. Like, who haven't taught you that? Who haven't taught you that? Are you a virgin? Like, did you just like lay on your back with a penis inside you? Like, why are you doing this? I don't get the sensation. Like, what's, I don't understand your brain. I don't. Oh my God, I thought you had glasses on. That's just your eyes. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Because we want it more. We want it more. You know, I'm not saying that it's easier for a man to do it while having kids, or that it's easy for a man to do it while having kids. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that, you know, and for one, it's a turnoff. Men look at kids and we see a stretched vagina. And no matter how good it is, we're going to wonder how much better it was before the kid. Period. Every time we see that kid, it's a reminder of how stretched the vagina is. Every time we see that kid's head. Having kids for a man don't diminish the penis. That's a plus. And this gives women opportunity to see if he is a actual father type. But the short answer, Charlene, is that men and women are different. We simply are. And we can take a kid on a date with a woman and it's cute. If a woman takes a kid on a date with a man, it's dangerous. What if he's a degenerate of some sort? Huh? What if he's a degenerate? But you see, if a man takes his kid on a date with a woman and she's a degenerate, it don't matter because he got muscles and shit. All right. There we go. I don't see the problem. Oh, that's because you that chick. You that chick who think that men and women are different. But when I asked you to suck my penis, you said no. And men don't turn down sexual opportunities. Men and women are different. You think that they're the same. They're not the same, nor are their situations. God dang it. All right, let's continue.
I've made that clear. The second thing that I want to make clear is this. Jessica, I don't tell Black women to solely date white men. Black women have a 2 million deficit when
She does it in code.
it comes to marriageable Black men in the United States. I don't know what it is in the UK. I just know what it is here. And it has created an imbalance that has caused Black women to suffer in a way that doesn't allow for them necessarily to maximize their marriage possibilities. You also have to factor in, and this is where I want to talk to you about colorism. When you're talking about colorism, there's actual statistical data that Black men, by and large, marry.
So y'all see what she just did. I don't say to women to date Black men, but colorism is a Black man thing. Y'all see this? Y'all see this? Yeah, people, what's going on?
The highest percent, darker skinned Black women get married last. If you'd like to see
Citation needed.
that, if you'd like to see that data, I would be happy to send it to you so that you might be able to get some perspective on this. My drive is this.
What's true? Darker skinned women get married last? Well, do you have a light skinned twin sister that you're on a race with? And if so, I don't care. Suck better penis. Get better sandwiches. That's on you. I don't care about your damage. Where's my sandwich? I mean, like, it's not racism. Listen. I got picked last. So what if we are? I got picked last for basketball growing up. Now, did I say that that's nerdism or something like that? No, you just get over it. Do you hear Oriental people complaining, or just Asian people in general complaining that that is not enough of them in the NBA? No, they just get over it. They don't say it's some type of ism. Suck better penis. Damn it.
I want Black women to have choices. With choices comes power. With power comes respect. I want them to entertain all of their options. I'm not telling them to solely focus on white men, because you're right. There's only a certain percentage of white men who are going to be interested in that. However, since my book came out, the interracial marriage rate of Black women was at 9% when my book came out in 2012. In 2015, that statistic went up 33% to 12%, and that was in 2015. I'm looking forward to see what the new census data will reflect. So these are the things that I just wanted to clear up. I don't want to argue with you. I don't think that you're a bad person. I may not agree with you, but that's just not the purpose of why I called in.
I get that, and it doesn't have to be a combative conversation. It doesn't.
Oh, you don't want to argue, but you want to set Series 7 up to do the arguing for you.
And so in regards to what you said about, Kevin Samuels and the clip with the lady with twins, I would have to go and watch that for myself, because I know from the whole Miss Average at Best situation how things can be twisted, how things can be misquoted, how things can be represented in a way that do not necessarily reflect the reality of what happened. So that's something that I'm going to have to go and check out for myself. And so I'm sure you heard me say it earlier, and I said this isn't necessarily a fault of yours, okay? But it's more something that I've noticed with your fan base or your subscribers. So one, with the amount of women who are looking to date out, and I am the product of an interracial relationship. So when people are saying, Jessica, you're against this, I'm not against it. I'm not. But what I'm saying is that women have to be, one, realistic, and two, you don't have to be derogatory towards your own group of people if you do date out. That's not necessary. So yeah, I'm not against that. I just don't feel, and this is something that I get if I read your chats, if I almost examine people who are following you. There are not enough men who are looking to date out to satisfy the demand of Black women who wish to date out.
But did you hear what I said? I said that I understand that, but expanding your options instead of narrowing them down and saying that because that potential is so small, I shouldn't bother, I think hurts Black women.
And here's what I'm saying. I never said that it's so small that you shouldn't bother, but you, knowing your subscriber base, should know that a lot of these women aren't saying, I'm going to open my options, as in, like you say, if I take your statistics, there's a 2 million man deficit, right? So they're not saying, I acknowledge that and I'm going to open up my options to, increase the probability of me getting married. What these women primarily are saying is that I'm divesting from Black men, I don't want to date Black men, and I want to date outside of my race, whether that be white, Asian, whatever it may be. So these women aren't exploring their options, they're doing the opposite. They are limiting their...
Yeah, Jessica did destroy her. But I do want to, here's the thing. And this is going to show the level of authenticity that chicks like this have. It's authenticity. It's awfulness. It's a level of authenticity. So, somewhere in the old-timey days, the Mormons settled in Utah to escape persecution. What they found, that so many of their men were being persecuted by Protestant, that there was an extraordinary imbalance between like other Christians, I should say, because I think Mormon is a subset of Christianity. So there was an imbalance, meaning that there were far more Mormon women than there were Mormon men. Now, you would think that the Mormon women collectively would be saying divest, swirl with, anything. The Native Americans, the Orientals, the blacks, the Christian, just swirl with anything, open up your options. But what did they do? What did they do? Polygamy. That was the solution to their problem. And you want to know why? Because they're better women. Just saying. Collectively speaking, they're better women. All right, let's continue.
Their options. If we have this huge group of women who are saying, listen, I'm not open to dating black men anymore. I'm not willing to do that. I want to date men of other races. Far from expanding their pool, they're actually limiting their pool and they're lessening their chances of getting married.
So I want to give you
Hit the like button.
an example of something that just happened while I was in the chat. Somebody said, Christelyn is a dark roach. That was one of you.
Doesn't really matter if you're dark or not. You are roach colored. We already went into that. There's I never really seen like a black roach because that's like a beetle, but there's brown roach, and you're that color. You're the color of the typical roach. I don't know if that's a cockroach, but there is a California roach, and you're that color. And your skin texture is just like it.
Your commenters. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to hold.
And just to be clear, I'm that same color, but I'm not as roachy as you. There's just something about you that's roachy.
You responsible for what the commenters say. What I say is that black women should entertain all their options. Black men, white men, Asian men, Hispanic men, Eskimos, aliens, whatever. As long as you find a man who is willing to love, provide, protect, and produce for you, then you should go where the love is. That is my message.
That's your external message. But remember before, you was talking mad crap with Shira, or you was leading Shira to talking mad crap.
As I won't hold you responsible for somebody in the chat calling me a dark roach, please don't hold me responsible for the opinions of what some of my commenters say.
Right. And one, I want to say.
Now, see, Jessica didn't know at the time. Or maybe she don't know now unless she's watching. But and she's probably not because it's late where she's at. But dang, lost my train of thought. Oh, so she's saying don't hold me responsible for what my commenters say, but she should hold her responsible for what she is saying.
This to the chat right now. I don't advocate that sort of language. I want people to keep it classy. I want people to keep it respectful, right?
Well, I do.
That's not something that you'd ever hear coming out of my mouth. You guys knowing me, watching me, you know that I wouldn't find that language acceptable. In fact, I called out a lady the other day for calling black women roaches and nappy-headed.
Oh.
I called her out for that. It's not something that I stand for, so I don't want to see that in the chat. The chat does move fast, so I don't always get to see those comments, but that's not something that I stand by. And I realize the chat, listen, as content creators, we realize the chat they can say things that we don't necessarily agree with, and that's not always a reflection on how we think as content creators. And that's why I said to you, when the first thing that I laid out before I spoke about what I see in your chat, I said, this isn't necessarily your fault or a reflection of you. It's something that I've noticed amongst your followers, but I don't hold you responsible for that. That's what I prefaced the whole statement saying, right? So again, it's not necessarily something you've done, but it's something I noticed within the mindset of your followers. That's the difference. And that's why if you actually watch the content that I made about you, it wasn't personal digs at you. It wasn't. It was me speaking on the mindset of the people who were watching and the people who were following. And that's mainly what I focused on, because at the point, as I say, I was reviewing Kevin Samuels. I was reviewing the whole average at best situation and why women were so enraged at the thought that he called a woman average. Why is it such a bad thing to be average? Why are these women so angry? That's what I was examining at the time. As opposed to it being an examination of you specifically, it was more an examination of the mindset. And your channel is one of the channels where I could see that mindset exemplified, and that's why I chose to cover it. What would you say to Kevin Samuel's comment? He says, in addition, you treated with nothing but respect, and subsequently, you've gone over half a year of insulting me and my platform. No justification for your persistent, direct discussion of me. What would you say about that?
I would say this, and Kevin, I'm glad that you're listening. again, I was prepared to go on your show. I think we were booked for Wednesday. I like to prepare before I go on the show, and I listened to I don't know if it was live at the time or if it was a rerun, but again, in this particular show that I heard you say, and it wasn't just me in the room, it was also my mentor, who is very, he gives me very good advice. He is what you might deem a high value man. And he asked me, after you said that a woman who claimed that she had been abused, you did not even ask her what the abuse was, and you told her that she should go back and beg his forgiveness. And then when you said that single mothers should give up custody of their children in order to pursue high value men, that is against my principles, and therefore I couldn't do it. Also, the things that you...
Now, the stuff that Shira 7 did isn't against her principles. That stuff is okay. But this is against her principles.
Say are not correct. My goal is for Black women to win. And
why does she keep restating her goal? This is...
So I understand that you have your agenda, you're a man, and your interests are not going to be the same as my interests. So when you say that by 25, like a woman like Jessica, who is appears to be a lovely woman, who is 25 years old, and you deem her in the danger zone, when the average marriage rates in America is 28 for women and 29.9 29 years, 0.9 for men, I take issue with that. I'm not necessarily taking issue with you personally. I think that you are a very well together put man. I don't deny that. I think that you have made some incredible success. I also believe that I've also gotten some of the way that you run your show and the software that you use. I've adopted those things. I don't deny them. But again, those are my principles. And what you said that day are against my principles. It's just really that simple.
So here's the thing, right? Again, like I said, I'm going to go and have a look at that clip, and I'll make my decision from there. But I don't think the danger zone is a bad thing. I don't. Here's why, right? Because if we're saying that the average age that a woman gets married in America is 28.9, and I believe here it's slightly higher, right? I think it's about 30 years old. What that's showing is that this is the age most women are getting married. Most women are either searching for their husbands just before that age, hence why the danger zone starts at 27. And by 35, really and truly, see me post in the chat. If you hit that, it will bring you up onto the panel. And I want to apologize for what's going on. I want to apologize to you for that, because I know that this is nothing to do with you. You're probably wondering what is going on, what's happening, and for what.
Okay, and now we get
the hell is going on.
I've been crying.
Okay, so now we get into the Soraya portion. But y'all get the gist of it. Christelyn Karazin hops on and talks to Jessica real friendly like, real nice like, oh, we're besties, and, tell me about you. You're my best friend and all of this crap. So she does that without letting people know that listen, I was the one that put a fire under Shira 7. I was the one who manipulated Shira 7 into going after you and subsequently going after the Soraya girl. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Christelyn Karazin that sent her the link to Soraya's channel. I wouldn't be surprised because, Shira 7 says she got the link anonymously, or she got it from, somebody. I would not be surprised if it was Christelyn Karazin that did it. She obviously doesn't like Jessica X. Now, that's not so obvious when she actually speaks to her, because, when Debo leave, I'll be talking again. Jessica be like, shut the fuck up. I'll be quiet. But when she leave, I'll be talking again. That type of dynamic. She's not going to go at her directly. She's going to try to, manipulate her minions into doing it. And she fell for it. And this is the results. This Soraya girl is the results. So Shira 7 looks like the villain here. Christelyn Karazin don't. All right. So now that we understand her manipulation tactics, I'm going to go into the David situation and the call that I was on her show earlier. All right, earlier today. So once again, fair use. All right, let me get the emoji up. Give me a second, y'all. All right, one moment. 122.46. So on our last video, I came in at 122.46, but I'll go back a little further to get some context. Y'all know how I do. All right. And all right, fair use.
Necessarily that they want to go out and like, you know, forcefully castrate and sterilize people, but they do want to try to curb the birth rates there. Whereas you have people like me who are like, hey, everybody should have more kids.
Yeah, but I mean, when you say
multiply.
everybody should have more kids, do you think everybody should have more kids if they can't, you know, take care of them, feed them, clothe them, make sure they have access to proper health care, have, you know, safe places to live? I mean, it's like how far?
I understand why people have that concern sometimes. The thing is that the people who generally have that concern are like middle class and above first world residents.
She first made videos about Jessica, didn't she?
And I think that people tend to put off having children longer than they should by making excuses like, oh, we need to finish college first. We need to do this first. We need to do that first. We need to have a house first. And it's like, actually, it's a lot easier to have kids than I think a lot of people realize. I mean, humanity wouldn't be here if people.
Now, if you can look at the look on Christelyn's face, like right here when he's saying that. Basically, what this guy is saying is, you know, you don't need so many luxuries just to have a kid. You don't have to wait till you buy a house and this. If two people love each other, they can get together and have kids. And if he's responsible with a promising future, then, you know, there's nothing really wrong with that. That's what he's saying. And she don't like that because that goes against her bag narrative. She's not going to say it, but you can see it in her face.
People weren't having children, even in like actual like squalor, you know, horrible survival situations for all of history. So I don't think that's a super big concern for most people. Like, because most of the people that say, oh, you know, we need to wait till we're ready to have children. It's like, you're like a 32-year-old, you know, person with a college degree who's already been married for like 6 years. You just want to wait until what, like your college debt's paid off. I like the people.
And he's right. In this instance, he's right. See, I don't know if David is like wrong on his things or is he just misled. I think it's the latter. I think he's extraordinarily misled, and that's why I hopped on.
The people who say that are not the people who I think that would actually really be true for, if that makes sense.
I will say this, and this is where I think there may be a cultural distinction.
Okay, pay attention. She is about to define aspects of Black culture to a white man, and she's about to give her interpretation of it. Pay close attention to this. Because keep in mind, he grew up not really understanding, not around many, if any, Blacks.
Because in the Black community, and this is where I think is different.
Black culture is learned through Black women. Like people's interpretation of Black culture often, far too often, comes through Black women with movies like Waiting to Exhale, Color Purple. That is how they choose to show the image of Blackness to the world. So they can be a perpetual victim that requires white knighting. Hence, welfare.
Different. We have a really high incidence of fractured families.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what you're talking about, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think what you're talking about is two married people who have good values, and then they build a family, and maybe they move to, I don't know, Oregon, to a place that is affordable, and they have children and they're able to provide. The challenge that Black women face is that we have the lowest marriage rates and the highest divorce rate.
Y'all also have the lowest get me a fucking sandwich rate. Y'all have the lowest rate of getting me a sandwich. The lowest. Now, don't get me wrong. Getting me sandwiches has been up, about 8% this year. Or excuse me, in 2020. In 2020, get me a sandwich has risen about 8%. But it's still low. And the thing is that every man knows like who's most likely to get a sandwich. And it ain't you. Raise your getting a sandwich rate and then watch your marriage rate rise. Also, lower your obesity rate.
And telling Black women to, have as many kids in certain situations. Game Changer is on.
Now, did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear the Did y'all hear that? Like I'm automatically the bad guy. Game Changer is on. She didn't say, oh, hooray, Game Changer is on. Or this should be interesting. I get an opposing point of view. No, it's all, Game Changer is on. What did I ever do to this roach? But y'all see? Y'all see the hatred? Oh, and I didn't even read the chat room. But I know that was just like all kind of crazy.
I'm gonna let him come on. Telling them to have as many kids as possible, and under these circumstances is not safe, for them.
I will say that, like, obviously being a Christian, I would say that being married first should be like, your kind of prerequisite for having children. Like, I'm not saying like just have children no matter what. I'm saying get married, have children in that order, ideally. And when I say that, I think, I think that more people should do that. I think that we could build a better world if more people, got married and had children. And I think that a lot of times people don't realize, because this certainly happened with me when I had children, got married and had children. People don't realize that having children as a man forces you to get your act together. And it not that like, it's just, a total bum is just going to become a good dad overnight, but like a guy who, has a good work ethic and, maybe has been just kind of coasting along, making enough to take care of himself and spending all his free time backpacking, shooting guns, whatever. That's the kind of stuff I did. suddenly you have a wife and kids. Like, you know what? I got to work more. I got to make more money. And
I don't actually know what backpacking is. Like, I picture a guy on a mountain with a big backpack, but it seemed like that would be called something else. It seemed like that would be called, like, you know, foot traveling or you know, journeys or something, or just like mountain hiking, or it seemed like that would be called something else.
I think that in a lot of ways, if you're already kind of have a head on your shoulders and are, you know, have some values and kind of.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. It seems like mountaineering is a better word for that, but like backpacking doesn't really sound, because it puts the emphasis on the equipment, not the, you know, not the person. You basically, you know, taking backpack and making it a verb and saying that this is a thing.
Have a good foundation.
Kind of like you don't call shooting gunning.
Having children will make you a better and stronger person. So that's not to say it's like every single person will be better if they have children.
I mean, that's the ideal, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
If all conditions facilitate for that to happen.
And I mean, like, I'm normally talking to like a very explicitly Christian audience when I say these kind of things. So basically what I'm saying is like, hey, you know, people in church, good people with good families, like, don't wait until you're 30 to have kids. Start having them sooner. Don't just have 2 kids like the classic American family. Have 4, have 5, have 6.
Well, I've had 4, so
yeah, you're doing great.
Get qualified.
Yeah.
GameChanger. Would you like to contribute? Do you have anything to say about?
Yes, I do. That's why I came up. That's me talking after recording, but listen to the recording.
This conversation?
Yes, I do. However, it's about a previous aspect of the conversation, because I'm watching the show in arrears. I had something else to do for the last 30 minutes. So before, it was mentioned that Black women having high expectations and, you know, high standards, so to speak. And then the rebuttal to that was that they're simply seeking a man with a job. Well, I'm here to say that with current evidence, including the evidence that bought David into this sector, you know, with that call, that average at best call, it does seem as though there is, even an average Black woman is seeking an above average man in income, not simply a job. In fact, a lot of guys came through to her that she called beneath her. Like, I shouldn't date somebody beneath me, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the base criteria isn't just a job, David. It seems like there is a greater criteria. And she's just one of many people who calls Kevin Samuel's show, who are below average in the way men measure or value women, but still seek what's called high value man.
Well, David, you want to take that?
Yeah, with her situation, you know, what she claimed was that she was earning 6 figures herself, in which case I understand completely why she would want to find a man who is making not necessarily more than her, but like a comparable level of income to her.
Now, she didn't say a comparable level of income. She said more. And she did call the people who made less the people with jobs. Okay, so just to give you some context, earlier in the show, this is me talking, by the way. Earlier in the show, they were speaking as if Black women just go with broke men for the cause. And I'm here to tell them that even though that's the image that they portray, that's not the actuality of it. The reality of it is that they always go for the bag. Even when you think of situations like Pookie Ray Ray, right? In his youth, he may have had a bag. Though it was due to ill-gotten goods, it's still a bag. And especially something like that could be appealing to, say, a woman who's on public assistance, because she can get with a guy with an income and continue to maintain her public assistance. To where if she were to get with a manager of a food chain or something like that, his income would add to hers if he moves in, and the people who gives her the subsidies will have to question it because the household income has been raised. But no matter what, in one way or another, it does come to getting a bag. I didn't explain all of that because I knew that I wouldn't be allowed to, but let's see how this conversation presents. This is David talking right now.
I've seen it happen before where in my friend group, I've seen it where when the woman is just like more successful than the man, it leads to like some weird dynamics. You don't want to throw off that, the male is the protector and the provider and the woman is the nurturer. You don't want to throw off that dynamic by suddenly.
Golden Morgan in the chat room said, oh boy, here comes trouble. WTF is this, Dusty? OMG, we are still there. They cheated and used her for money, so they are beneath her. That's not really what she stated happened because she only had money for the last 3 years. Like, what does she do with the rest of her adulthood? Let's see. I'm embarrassed. It's called equally yoked. Okay, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So basically what they're doing is they're justifying this type of behavior. And don't get me wrong, it's not that. I'm just saying he's under the impression that these women are just looking for jobs, looking for guys with jobs. And they're having trouble finding men with jobs. But Miss Average at Best didn't have trouble finding a man with a job. Actually, I'm already talking. I'm just going to play the whole thing through if I can.
The woman's wearing the pants because she's making, 2/3 or 3/4 of the income.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really feel like, obviously not every woman should be like, no, I'm only holding out for a man who makes, 6 figures. That would be ridiculous. And you'd overlook a lot of good guys. And that's just a very simple metric. That's not taking into account the cost of living in different places. Looking for a woman who wants a man who makes 6 figures in Eastern Oregon is asking for a whole lot more than a woman who lives in San Francisco asking for a man who makes 6 figures.
Sure.
Is asking for. But yeah, I don't like, you called that woman average, but she was thin, she was fit, she seems to take care of herself. Well, Kevin kind of coerced her to that, but that was even then just talking about her looks. Even if her looks are average, that doesn't mean that she's average.
And I just want to say too, I didn't bring him up. GameChanger did, and you responded. I just want to refresh people's memory. In that particular situation, I just want to, make it clear. He did ask her to rate herself, and he said you can't use a 6. And
I think he said you can't use 7.
Or was it a 6 or 7? You can't say 7. And then he said Beyonce is an 8, or he considers Beyonce an 8. So
now I want to point out also that David gave her a 7.1.
The narrative has been, well, she rated herself.
Yeah,
she rated herself with strict parameters. I don't know, was it parameters or perimeters? And under his arbitrary grading system. So it wasn't so if Beyonce is an 8, then you know what? I'm a 5. You know what I mean? So that sort of constrained her a little bit. And
Christelyn, I assure you, you're not a 5.
Also, to talk about her wanting to have somebody, she wanted somebody to at least be making the income that she had, because when she dates people below that, she feels a little bit as if they're trying to be exploited.
Now, David was talking about, and I know I just can't help but interrupt. So David was talking about women marrying younger. And when she was younger, because she's only been making six figures, for 3 years. So before 32, she should have dated then. And she wouldn't be asking for six-figure guys because she herself didn't ask for six-figure guys. Or, I'm sorry, she herself didn't make six figures.
And so I'm still just really trying to understand what's wrong with that.
Okay, so what I was talking about before is that the criteria that y'all were stating earlier, that a man simply has a job, simply isn't true. So in addition to her, there are women who are...
Wait, when did we say that?
You said that earlier in your video, or at least David did.
That's a little bit of a twisting. What I said is that I've seen women get like insulted and piled on simply for saying, basically for expecting a man to have a job and be, a person.
Oh, okay, that's what.
Okay, so I'll look it up, but I don't think it was that benign. But I will look it up again. So that seems like a outlier. That seems like an exception more than a norm. Normally, and like we have channels like Christelyn Karazin's friend Shira7, who specialize in teaching women, primarily Black women, to finesse what's called the bag out of men. And they use methods that quote unquote witchcraft, deceit, lies in order to do so. So now remember what I played for y'all before. Christelyn Karazin was literally talking to Shira on how to expand their witchcraft. And trust me, I got the clips on that. But yes, they want to expand their witchcraft to find millionaires. These chicks are not looking for somebody on their level or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They are looking for the bag, Christelyn Karazin included. Now, she's not going to let Mr. David West know that, and she's going to take all precautions to assure that he doesn't find out. But Game Changer is going to let you know, but you got to hit that like button. So it's a lot more complicated, and it's obvious that the intention behind it is greater than finding a man simply with a job. Wait a minute. Somebody talking crap in the chat room. Hold on. Game Changer is one of those incels. Well, okay, but I have a job. So according to their logic, a Black man can't have a job and be an incel because Black women are out looking for men who just have a job, right? Like I should have all sorts of them coming at me as long as I remain employed. But that's not the case, is it? Now, I'm not an incel, but that's neither here nor there. For them to say that, they must be aware that there exists Black men who are involuntarily celibate with jobs. That wouldn't be the case if what they were claiming was true. In fact, through all of these shows, whether it's Kevin Samuels, whether it's Christelyn Karazin, whether it's Shira7, there isn't a group of women who are out there saying, hey, I just want a Black man with a job. I mean, is there a channel like that? Is there a channel? Y'all see where I'm going with this, right? Y'all see where I'm going with this? Is there a channel where Black women are saying, just give me a Black man with a job? They swipe left on Tinder on Black men with jobs all the time. Channel of women who are just looking for a Black man with a job.
Okay, so I have to. I'm a little confused about why you're.
What I'm saying is that the
you're okay. Listen, I let you speak.
But I was clearing up your confusion. But go ahead.
Okay, you can't clear up my confusion unless you know what I'm confused about.
Go for
it. I'm just confused about why you're bringing up Shira7 and her belief system and how she and her advice to the conversation that we're having right here on the pink pill.
Okay. Now, this is me talking, not the recording. Now, needless to say that it should be clear that I brought up a representative of the get the bag culture to counter the narrative that there is a culture of women who are looking for a man with just a job. Shira7 is not out there trying to find a man with just a job. They're trying to find the bag. But listen to how I explain it to her directly. Fair enough. The reason why I brought it up is because if the standing belief to somebody like David, who's new to the space, is that Black women simply want a man with a job, I used her as an example to prove that that's not true. This is a woman with a extraordinarily large following where women are seeking men with more than jobs. They are seeking men with bags, quote unquote. Now, David West, if you don't know what the bag is, I guess the best definition I can give is a man with significant disposable income that is willing to dispose it on his love interest.
Okay.
Now I explained what the bag is. Let's see her response to this.
But on this channel, Game Changer, on this channel, I encourage Black women to pair with quality men of all races, quality men who show competency in protecting, providing, and producing regardless of race. So I'm confused as to why you're bringing.
I just said it several times, but y'all see how quick, look at how she's trying very hard to disassociate herself from Shira7. She's already used her like a tampon. She's already used Shira7. Now she's trying to disassociate. Why are you bringing up Shira7? She's just one of many examples that I can bring up to show that they are actually more interested in income, that these women are not simply settling for guys with jobs. Show me a Black woman out there who says, I just want a Black man with a job, and see how quick I don't hook her up with somebody. Like that. I just want a Black man with a job. All right, go to UPS. Go to the post office. Go anywhere where Black men work. Go to a construction site. Have your cable installed. And get them a sandwich. That's all you want, really? That is a lie, and I'm exposing this lie.
Shira7, who's just one channel, as an example for what.
Yeah, but Charlene, Shira7 didn't teach you that, did she? If you are doing that, you would be called Pygmisha.
Black women as a whole are looking for. That's confusing for me. So
Now, I didn't say Black women as a whole.
You're basically taking one person's channel and what they do and then attributing it to all Black women and then trying to tell David that because this one YouTuber or maybe a few YouTubers.
Now, according to David, it was only maybe a few YouTubers that was complaining about a Black woman complaining about just looking for a man with a job. According to him, that was just a few YouTubers. However, Shira7 is a representative for a few thousand YouTubers, more than a few thousand YouTubers.
YouTubers that do this are saying this. That means that all Black women are seeking that. That seems a little.
No, I didn't. This is inject and deflect. They inject the word all, and then the deflection is, oh, so you're saying that all of them? No, I am not saying that. But don't worry, I'll make that point clear in a moment.
Bit. That's a big broad brush that you're using.
Let me ask you.
I actually, that's a big broad brush, but I didn't really paint with it, did I?
Question real quick, Game Changer. So
Sure.
over the last month and a half, since I've kind of become aware of the existence of the Black Manosphere, and through my wife discovered channels like Christelyn's, I sort of learned that there seems to be a sort of common idea in what would be called Black culture that women should be that Black women should be like intensely loyal to Black men as a whole. They should try not to date outside of that pool, and that they should be willing to be with men who are not particularly like financially well off or ambitious or anything. Do you disagree with that?
And that's what he's been told. That's what he's been led to believe by people like Christelyn Karazin, that the manosphere is full of poor Black men who are saying that Black men or Black women should date poor Black men. Now, I use Obsidian as a counterexample, but I mean, like, why would he think that, considering that he heard Kevin Samuels? In fact, name the one. Like, hey, name the one. Name the member of the manosphere that is doing that. I should have said that. I should have challenged him with that. That the push for such a thing exists.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the predominant relationship theories in Black culture. Do you disagree with that? Because I've been kind of learning about this, and that it seems to be fairly well documented that is the case.
Okay, so I can understand that an impoverished man, really of any race, would be a subset of a culture to push that women date men for reasons other than money. I'm not really sure if that's a Black thing, but if you live in a trailer and you're tall, you probably would try to put into your culture a woman should be with a trailer guy and he's tall because he has character or something like that. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure that exists. When you were on Obsidian panel, I don't think that's Obsidian's case at all. He would be the exact opposite. So okay, let's put it like this. If there is such a push, I haven't seen it, but I can understand why it would exist.
So you can understand why that idea exists, because you're here acting like, it's if that idea exists, then why wouldn't women want to push back against that?
No, so listen, men are going to promote themselves no matter what. And if you just so happen to be a poor man, then you're going to, promote into the culture that,
or you're just going to better yourself.
Yeah. Well, many don't. Those who don't promote into the culture that you should date based on this, not money. So I get that, And yes, if you are impoverished, you should better yourself. Now, I want to answer Christelyn Karazin question about why bring up Shira 7, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'll answer it again. So I wasn't saying all women, just to be clear. I was using her as a sample or as an example of the push. Now, because she has, I think over 100,000 followers, and many people who watch her on a regular basis, it is a far greater example of what direction the culture is going in than David's example of, a couple of guys saying, coming down on a woman for wanting a man with a job. So yeah, David, a lot of Black women, not all, a lot of Black women are seeking something called the bag, something extraordinarily more than a man simply with a job.
I would say too that Shira, from what I understand, I've only recently started.
Y'all see how she's distancing herself from Shira? From what I understand, Shira, from what I understand, you're doing business with her. You're having like secret meetings on how to get a millionaire with her. Shira, from what I understand, Yep. Yep. She is trying to distance herself from Shira. See, she don't want this white man to go to Shira's 7 panel or show, because then he'll be like, what the fuck? And then he will later see that Christelyn Karazin was doing videos, and they were doing the whole sisterhood thing on Christelyn Karazin's channel. Then he's going to be like, what the fuck? These chicks aren't looking for a man that just has an income or a man with a job. They are on some strange. They're on some strange. Game Changer was right. The culture I was led to believe that Black people had, and by led to believe, just told by Christelyn Karazin, is actually something completely different.
Actually talking to her personally and getting to know her, she has an audience that is not just Black women. She has women of all races who are seeking the bag.
So now she's on some white women are doing it too. So basically you could say that your culture is aligned with everybody else's, which means that you can't make individualized statements that we are taught to struggle of.
As you term it. So I don't know. I don't know how accurate it could be that you're attributing Shira's platform to Black women as a whole when she clearly,
once again, not as a whole, not all,
has women of all races who follow her.
Well, no, I was saying predominantly Black. I didn't say all, and that just comes from like the number of people that comment and things like that. There could be a non-Black majority that is listening silently. However, with the evidence given, her channel is primarily Black women. Nevertheless, there is a large number of Black women who are seeking the bag. So I think that any retaliation about Black women having high economic mating standards come from such channels.
Let me say this real.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, let me say something real quick. So obviously, this wouldn't be an example of men from the Black manosphere going after a Black woman because it's something that my wife and I said, but it's still them going after this idea. A week or two ago, my wife and I went on a little anniversary trip down to Reno.
Okay, listen to this Reno story carefully and get the lights up.
On our way back, we filmed a video which she uploaded to her YouTube channel, just a quick kind of cell phone video as we were driving.
Okay.
And in it, we talked about the difference between like kind of being with a man who temporarily isn't really making any money and is kind of struggling, and a man who's like kind of stuck in a lifestyle like that. We gave examples, like a friend of mine who, his wife's a nurse. He went to Yale Law. He took a year or two off between being the valedictorian of Pepperdine University and going to Yale Law, where he just had like a $15 an hour job and enjoyed, being a newlywed and stuff. At that point, he had a fairly menial job at like a paper company and or printing company, and his wife was a nurse who was probably making $60,000 plus a year. However, she wasn't just being with a guy who's barely making anything. She was with a guy who was the valedictorian of a very prestigious college, who was going to go to one of the Ivy League law schools. He ended up going to Yale Law. That's not the same as like just being with a guy who makes nothing and has no plans to change that. The other kind of example I gave was like, it's the difference between, being like a frontier woman being with a man who says, hey, go take care of the farm, go.
Okay, he's completely off topic. Yeah, you're right, Stoic. I mean, he's completely off topic. I don't know if he's entrenched or what have you, but that's just like all over the place. Because what we're talking about is the culture of the Black women. The perceived culture is that they're simply looking for a guy with a job. And the actual culture is they're overlooking guys with jobs.
go take care of the cattle, go mend the house, go take care of the kids. I'm going to go fishing. And a frontier woman being with the guy who says, hey, you're going to have to take care of all that stuff while I go on a cattle drive for 3 months. Like, it's not, there's a difference between being with a man who might temporarily leave you in control of some stuff and leave you having to provide and whatnot, and a man who just expects you to always do that. And we talked in the video, we explicitly talked about, like,
so there's really no reason to assume that I wouldn't understand that difference.
You're dating a guy who's in college and working at Burger King. That's one thing.
Hey, let me get 100 likes, y'all. Let me get 100 likes.
But if you're dating like a 35-year-old man who works at Burger King, that's a totally different thing. And yet, as explicit as we were in trying to be like, look, it is okay to have a menial job when you're young, but women should have higher and higher standards for men as they get older. Yet
see, women should have higher standards for the men as the men get older, not as the women get older. See, if she's 35 and he's 35 and he works at Burger King, it really doesn't matter where she works at. Like, her value is that of a 35-year-old woman.
People coming out of the woodwork being like, how dare you look down on people who have a job like that? That's very unchristian. Why are you looking down on those people? So if, like, why were these people coming out of the woodwork to attack us for saying these things?
I understand. So, David, what I want to do is challenge a misunderstood stereotype about Black relationships. And now, look at the look on Christelyn Karazin's face. See, she knows that the myth of this, ride or die chick is a myth. Maybe it was true sometime in the 90s or something, but they weren't really like, seeking struggle of themselves. They were seeking, what's his name? Buns. They were seeking buns from not New Jack City, from Belly. They were seeking Nino Brown. They were seeking the top dogs of criminal empires when crime was lucrative, when such crimes was lucrative. And they weren't as ride or die as the situation, or as the movies would project. And these guys weren't even poor, at least according to the perception. So there's a difference between what's presented and the reality. But see, she don't want her illusion shattered. Now watch what she does when I attempt to shatter the illusion. Fair use. Thanks for the 100. One of those is that Black women seek these quote unquote struggle love situations, and their failures in dating, mating, and relating with the opposite sex of any race is a result of them seeking these struggle love situations. That's simply not true. What is true is what was displayed earlier. They are seeking the bag. Unfortunately. And I was cut off.
Okay, game changer.
So basically, I told him what was not true. And right when I was about to tell him the truth, cut off. Cut off. That's like saying, that's like having a government official come out and say, the person that assassinated John F. Kennedy is, and then he was just cut off. Y'all see what happened here? Do y'all see what your brain? Y'all see? They don't want that to end. I'm going to bring up the scrolls in a minute. But Before I do that, I am going to play a random, and I mean completely random, snippet from Shira 7. I'm going to pick her video, a random video, and just click a random time. I kid you not. I don't really like to listen to her to even critique. Wait, she has 143,000 subscribers. However, the standing culture isn't get the bag. Okay, so this is her last video. It was done 5 hours ago. And it says, potential in a man is not enough. Holy crap, I can't make this up. I wish David was here. Look at this title. Look at this title. Potential in a man is not enough. David, are you listening? David, are you with me? Potential in a man. David, if you ever want to meet up in Reno, right? Because you're in Oregon. So that's a decent halfway mark. If you ever want to meet up in Reno, we could do it. You say you like IHOP, we can meet up in Reno. And I will break this down to you. I will break this down to you face to face. It says potential is not enough. Now, once again, I'm going to do a random thing. Just so y'all know, I'm going to do 1 hour exactly. Just so y'all can hear how random it is. "59 minutes and 59 seconds. All right, let's see what she's talking about at the 59-minute and 59-second mark.
What is a happy home? Do you even know? Most people don't even know. Like, what is your definition of a happy home?
A home that's happy. It's not a complicated concept. It's really not. Or rather, a home where the occupants of it is happy. That's what that means.
It might be the horror story of the year for us.
Then it's not a happy home if you live in that home and it's a horror story.
Thank you, person. Get the bag and briefcase. You met a girl. She said she time to heal. She need time to heal. Is she a bad investment? Girl. Well, you're not a girl, but if I was telling someone advice and a man was saying this same thing, this means no, they don't want you.
Hey, I'm not going to complain, but I've been here 1 hour and 41 minutes and not a goddamn super chat or cash app. Just saying. All right.
That they've had their heart broken before.
But I'm not an ingrate because, who was it? Who sent me one earlier? Nope, not that one. Maurice sent me one earlier for a conversation I had on Bernard Riley's show. All right, let's continue.
Or they don't want to be anything serious with you. Bad investment, definitely.
All right, appreciate you, Gold Eagle. Appreciate you a lot, brother. Says I got you, homie. Thanks a lot. All right, Counselor Murray, thanks a lot. He says, there you go, GC. I appreciate you too, bro. All right. See, this is what I don't like talking to her, because it's kind of like slow and drag. Actually, let me.
So
y'all know how I do.
I would never tell anybody that. Even if I did need to heal from something, you would never know. That's a bad excuse. If you want to look like a bad investment, right? Yeah. Should you ignore his calls and take some days to make him change? It depends on how the relationship is. Is it new? Is it old? I don't know. You know, if it's old, you don't hear them all, girls. Oh, it's old. If it's new, don't. You know, he's trying to flip the script on you to chase him. So, yeah, let him chase you, girl. Just. Thank you for Kryptonomics. Women do not have problem lying. Many suffer in acting. Men too. Bad acting can expose a lot quickly. Good acting can win you awards. Sprinkle, sprinkle. That's right.
So yeah, she's talking about acting, which is deceiving. Okay, so Craig, I appreciate your brother. I'm not gonna say your YouTube name now, but I appreciate you, Bam, for doing that. If you want me to say your YouTube name, then go ahead and shout it out. But I appreciate the cash app, bro.
Right, sprinkle, sprinkle. That's how you get the reward. You gotta act. Gotta play your role. You gotta play the best role. You play the best role.
She's not mumbling, Candace. She's eating the inside of her face. She's eating the inside of her face because she had like so many surgeries and stuff. So yeah, it's like all kind of like stuff going on. For the foot on these 3 factorial plus what is that, hose neck? I appreciate it. Appreciate you, bro. Brother True. All right.
Oh, you get that award. Right?
God, this chick is
lame. As a Libra, you can be strong-headed because it's hard for me. Well, then you gotta act. Put yourself in the role of a Pisces then. Okay. Now she's talking to Zodiac bitches. And y'all know how I feel about Zodiac bitches. Listen, I'm not gonna see, she's hard to listen to, which makes it easy for her to hide her. Okay, got you. Okay, bitches, yeah. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get that, but thanks. Her stuff is hard to watch, so she can easily hide stuff from men because men do not want to watch her for a long period of time. I'm gonna do it so y'all don't have to. However, I did already do it on Christelyn Karazin's thing, and this is going to be my last hoorah. It's going to be my last hoorah where I show let me get how Christelyn Karazin, even though she claims that she's all about, love, marriage, and, just a guy that protects and provides and just a guy with a job. Let's see what she's really about. Hold on. Good side of being bad is the one. I think that's when I wrote down 122:46. If not, it's another one, but let's see. Oh, wait a minute. I think I labeled it. Hold on. Here we go. 103. 103 and 0 seconds. And this will be the last one. Got to take notes on this. I get y'all the quality. All right. So last but not least, here we go.
You and I are going to be doing something together. We're going to be doing a private event. It's going to be how to meet a millionaire. And so you guys know.
It's going to be how to meet a millionaire. Oh, really? Because you was just telling David that my show is all about women finding love and companionship of any race and economic background. And you should get with a hardworking man and have 4 to 8 babies and blah, 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 blah. Nope. but you're doing a workshop with Shira 7, the Get the Bag woman, on how to get a millionaire. A millionaire. I'm going to play that again. I hope David is listening. In fact, I'll give him a copy.
Such nerds. So you and I are going to be doing something together. We're going to be doing a private event. It's going to be how to meet a millionaire. And so
how to meet a millionaire. Yep. Cringe, isn't it? Just cringe. We're going to be doing an event called How to Meet a Millionaire, but we're just looking for guys with jobs.
So you guys know it's all of me in giving you the tips and tricks on how to present in terms of communicating, body language, etiquette, all of the things that are the external shell part. And she was going to be giving you the tea on how to enchant and enthrall and seduce.
I am?
Yes, you are. That's what you do. Because I think that both are necessary. And what I want to do is, and I need to talk to Tanya about this too, because I think that there are 3 things that I think are necessary for women in our demographic to win. And that is that, first of all, you need to feel like you deserve to be in the room, right? That you are worthy enough to be in the room, and that's about self-love and cultivating your inner self and being comfortable. And then you also need to know how to navigate. So you could have all the self-love in the world, but
now keep in mind, I want to remind you, she's not teaching this stuff on how to find a man with a job. None of this is about finding a man with a job, but this is the private workshop, the one that she don't want David to hear. This is how to meet a millionaire. So, David, if you're under the impression that these women are walking around like, how do I find a working black man? They have no trouble finding a working black man. They're trying to figure out how to seduce a millionaire.
If you don't know how to navigate and speak in the language in which the people in which you want to interact with speak, and there's a variety of different ways in which that language is expressed, then you can lose that way. But say you have you have the mentality, you now have the skills, but then how do you enchant? How do you enthrall? How do you captivate? How do you bend to your will?
Yep, y'all heard it. They're looking to bend millionaires to their will, David. She told you that they're just simply they're looking for, regular guys, provider protectors to love. Or are they looking for millionaires that they can bend to their will?
And so that's where I think the value of all of us coming together on something like this is remarkable and amazing. What do you guys think? For those of you guys in the chat, we've got 1,800 people in here right now. How many of you guys think about an event in which you learn the tactics and then you learn the sorcery and the witchery? So press 1 if you think that that's something.
The witchery. Y'all hear this? David doesn't realize that she is teaching courses to your wife on how to manipulate millionaires. The sorcery, the witchery.
You would like to do, and press 2 if you think you already know it all. Okay, I'm waiting to see the responses. There's a delay, but let me go to the.
All right, so I have like 7 minutes before I go. If somebody want to come up, I'll put the link out there, but I doubt it because it's not that much time. But yeah. So the moral of the story is the image they portray to white society is vastly different than the image that they actually have. Their actual image is far different than what they're presenting to the world. Far, far, far different. And that's why people like David wind up like, oh, if you were to say to David, yeah, there is a problem, which is why Black men are skittish with dating single mothers. Well, according to the Black women I talk to, the problem is y'all. It's like, perhaps you should get a second opinion, or perhaps you should get a different perspective, a different point of view on where the situation is coming from. And last but not least, to all the Davids out there, right? Here, let me stop the screen share. Last but not least, to all the Davids out there, right, who has this particular mating strategy. And I agree with this mating strategy, even though I didn't, fulfill it. That's because, when I was young, the women were asking for the guys that already had a bag, the ones who were willing to settle down. So, but nevertheless, the mating strategy for women should be to find a man with potential, which is something that they don't want to do, these bag chicks, including Christelyn and Karazin. Find a man with potential like David's wife did, marry him, and nurture his potential. And have kids along the way. And you don't need the 2-story house with the 3-car garage to do it. That's David's message. But you see, he unknowingly contradicts his own message when he promotes Miss Average at Best. You want to know why? Because she has a different mating strategy. And she has the mating strategy of far too many B-dubs. And that is, have fun until you make 6 figures yourself. And then demand that a man matches you. That's their mating strategy. Have fun, and maybe even bring a couple of kids along with you until you make 6 figures, which could be anytime, if it ever happens. You could be in your 30s, 40s, who knows? And then when you make 6 figures, then you demand a man that complements your income. That is an awfully failed mating strategy, and it goes in contrast to women having 4 kids by the time she's 30. Doesn't it? She can't really have 4 kids by the time she's 30 if she's working on getting her own 6 figures instead of her working on finding a mate. But that's the mating strategy of so many B-dubs, and that's the one that David, is encouraging. And I think it's unknowingly. I think he doesn't realize that if you say that a woman who makes 6 figures should date only 6-figure guys, then you're just encouraging women to try to make 6 figures themselves so that they can justify dating such men. And guess what? The men aren't necessarily going to reciprocate. In fact, they almost always won't, leaving women like Miss Average at Best and so many others that call Kevin at an extraordinary disadvantage. All right, give me a second. Let me just check something right quick. in the history, and then I'll read some chat room comments. Then I'll head out. Nah, don't want that one. One second, y'all. Okay, it's not here, and I'm not gonna search for it forever. All right. So anyway, let me read some comments. Gold Eagle says, why can't these women get a man who makes less than 6 figures and combine their salaries 20? Then they'll both become millionaires. Because that's not getting a bag, that's sharing a bag. And they actually cause situations like that struggle of, which is to be confused, rightfully, they want to muddy the waters, but which to be confused with situations, homosexual situations. All right, let me go up a little bit more. Anyway, who cares? I vet man, and I'm finding the best one for the job. Okay, I don't know what the job is, but what does it pay? Better pay some sandwiches and BJ's. All right, let's see. All right, that's to somebody else, so I won't worry about that. Let's see. Women love athletes sexually, specifically sexually. Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, I'm pretty sure they like a guy who's in shape and disciplined. Why not? Yeah, exactly. But y'all see the image that she tries to present to select people? Like she's one person with, Jessica X or David West, but she's another person to Shira Seven and her private meetings on how to find a millionaire. See, it's two messages. It's two-faced. There you go. So it's about improving you and your game, not the men. No, it's about improving you and your game to get the men. However, their methods of improvement are things like getting an $800 wig. In fact, getting like, what was it, like 40 $800 wigs. That's what they call improving themselves. Okay, I don't know what that means. Any sign of dust? To your baby mama wife. Okay, I missed the context of that. Toss a coin to the Witcher. All right, y'all having separate things. Letting them burn. Okay. Okay. Ah, damn it, Charlene. You can't improve someone if he wants every pussy that comes his way. He could deal with child support by himself. All right, listen to me. And listen to me good. Every man wants most pussy that comes his way. Not every, but most. We want a lot of pussy. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't deal with. If you try to find a man that don't want a lot of pussy, then you'll never find him because he won't want yours. So the things that attract men are the things that you are repulsed by of men. Lose-lose situation. And then you say pay child support by himself or deal with child support by himself, which is, pretty presumptuous, to say the least. But I mean, like, how's that different than a man saying to a woman with a 13-year-old she could raise that kid by herself? All right, y'all have spoken. I'll do a case file episode about it. All right, cool. To what end? All right, hold on. Hybrid bigger. Let's see. No, because jocks are in. See, here's the thing. I'm gonna mute you for a second. Say, here's the thing. Jocks are not Pookie. By any stretch of the imagination, jocks are not Pookie. I can't stress that enough. Pookie, generally speaking, is not athletic. How athletic can you be with your pants around your ass? Like it's not. It's a false equivalence by every stretch of the imagination. A woman who's seeking an athlete is probably not at all interested in Pookie because there's so many differences between the two. Like, would you say Steph Curry is a Pookie? Come on now. That's really far from the thing. I know that Pookie sees himself that way though, because it's kind of binary. Like everything that's not a nerd is a jock, and that's why I was called nerd as a pejorative by people who saw themselves as jocks, and they were either fat or skinny. Like they're not athletic at all. Participate in no athletic activity at all. I could tell by their figure. But yeah, it's really, and I don't get into the Pookie Ray Ray thing because they want the world to believe that they're the jocks of the neighborhood, but no, and they're not getting pussy, at least none that anybody else wants. All right, so let's see. He's still talking that. All right. So. Okay, so yeah, we're back to where we started. So say, what's on your mind?
Yo, what's up, Game Changer? This is the Golden Eagle right here, man.
Hey, what's up, Golden Eagle?
Pertaining to Shira 7's potential comment, potential is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you, Game Changer, what is potential to you?
Potential is something that's stored before it's accessed. So like a ball on the top of a table has a great potential energy. Once that ball falls and meets the ground and releases it, it's kinetic energy. So yeah.
So you telling me that a guy making $40,000 a year can possibly become a millionaire in the future? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and the level of his potential is the likelihood of it.
Right. So what are these women going to do when these guys that make quote unquote only $40,000 a year at 20 to 25 become millionaires? You know, the guys that they ignored and were invisible. What are they going to do then?
Well, they're going to appeal to the false perceptions.
Yeah, because it seems like they're ignoring the process, because all these quote unquote high value men,
mm-hmm.
they had to start somewhere, and there was a process to where they got where they at now. Whether it was some type of school they went to, training, trials and tribulations, success, failure, success, failure. I mean, we can pick some of them. A lot of these guys who are millionaires and billionaires, they were poor at one point, right?
Right. Many of them. Hold on a moment. Let me just address this person here. We are living in your mind rent free. Okay.
I think I know who that is.
Well, here's the thing about people like you, Unbothered. When you have a mind like mine's, there's plenty of room, sweetie. You think I give a shit? You are living there with the name of my first grade teacher and my second grade teacher, third, fourth, fifth, and so on. You're living there with that blue chick from Avatar that I want to fuck still. You're living there with Smurfette. You're living there with Hordak. You're living there with He-Man. You're living there with Magneto. You're living there with each and every single member of the X-Men. You are living there with Jose Canseco. You're living there with the memory of my grandfather's older brother, which was the first funeral I ever been to. Guess what? There's plenty of space there. Okay? And it's not crowded yet. You think I give a shit? You know, you're living near with that white orc from Lord of the Rings that told him to told the orcs to stand in their place, even though the catapults was coming at him. He told them to stand in formation. You are living there with a bunch of ugly ass orcs and all kind of crap. Okay, my mind is vast. There's a lot of shit. You think I give a fuck? You think that that's some type of conquest or something? You're simple. You're simple. You have room in your brain for 3 people. That's your mama, your daddy, and me. All right, go for it.
By the way, this is more than likely SYSBW. I seen her in the chat rooms. That's probably her second account.
Yeah.
Nice of you to stop by, SYSBW.
Yeah. I don't care who it is, you know.
Oh, okay.
Go on what you were saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying, man, like, it's funny how they overlook potential, but a lot of those guys do become wealthy over a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, take Robert F. Smith, for example. Was he broke at one point in time in his life?
I'm sure
he wasn't always a billionaire.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
And his exception had to present itself. You know, he went to the best universities, and you know he was definitely high up there. So yeah, like that should have been something that they took note of before, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm glad you brought that up, GameChanger, because you just reminded me. I'm thinking that's part of the reason why you don't see people get married on college campuses anymore, because of that mentality that She Was 7 has.
Well, according to Kevin, white women played a field from like freshman to sophomore year, and then they start looking for a husband junior and senior year.
Yeah,
and just do their thing until they graduate, and start looking when they make 6 figures. That last part wasn't Kevin Samuels, but y'all get where I'm going with this.
Oh yeah, I heard him. I think I heard him mention that one time.
Yeah,
because I mean, with that mentality that Shira has, I wonder what the marriage rates are with kids when they get the cut. Because that's when my parents found each other, and that's how it was. I guess throughout the 60s and 70s or something like that, when kids went to college.
Well, they always went to college. I don't know when your parents met.
Oh, I think it was in like the late 70s. No, actually early 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, college is a good place to find your, long-term mate, because you're not going to later in life. And I wish I had somebody to tell me this when I was in college. Later in life, you're not going to find somebody or an institution that just puts everybody in the same age group together and kind of force situations where they're made to work together like that. You're not. The real world isn't like that. Your first job is going to be with people who are older, younger, men, women. Some don't speak English. Like they're not going to sit you next to a woman your age. It's highly unlikely that that'll happen, unless you work in an industry that caters to that. But like a call center or something like that. But real life doesn't work that way. So you're not going to find a higher concentration of younger, hotter, sexier, childless. And legal than in college.
Yeah, that's true. But apparently now, if you don't have the potential, you might as well not even worry about it. Oh man, you right, man. I tell you, man, when they say you can't make this stuff up, I see why they say that.
Well, yeah, basically, this is the story that they present to white men. They're playing this game like, I'm going to just play around, and then when I make 6 figures, I'm going to demand a 6-figure guy, and he should take it because I make 6 figures. And they always lose at this game. So a plan B, which is what Christelyn Karazin represents, is I'm going to go to these guys and I'm going to say, Popeye, come save me. I've been with these black guys my whole life, and they all made less than me because they were struggle loving and save me. I'm the victim of poor culture. It's like, so you are presenting the culture as poor in order to get him to cash up, but really tried to hustle and it failed. And that's why she was so quick to hang up, because I'm calling out the hustle.
Wait, so whose channel was that? I might have to go look that up. Is it still up?
Yeah, it's still up. It's Christelyn Karazin's last show with David West.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to check that out when I get a chance.
Yeah. So Ice, I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you a lot. So yeah, I don't ask for much. Just to hit the like button and an occasional donation. I do spend time on this. An occasional donation from time to time. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Somebody drop a C note in there for GameChanger, man.
You don't have to be like. I mean, I'd appreciate it, but you don't have to be like that. But just an occasional one. I appreciate it. All right,
somebody drop a C note.
Thanks a lot, Ice. But yeah, I'm gonna head out. It's about 2:15. That's about as long as I want this to be. So, any last words?
Oh no, I'm good, man. I'll catch you on the rebound, man. Thanks for having me up, GameChanger.
Okay, and thanks for coming up. All right. Well, with that being said, I want to thank the Cash Apps and Super Chats. I want to thank the managers and moderators. I want to thank those who are listening silently and those who participated in the chat. If you haven't already, subscribe. If you haven't already, hit that like button on your way out. And yeah, this is GameChanger00100. Game over. Peace.